Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome to the channel. I haven't covered Tron in a very long time. The last time we made a video on this was 6 months ago, but a lot of people keep on asking me what are my opinions on Tron and to give an update in the immediate short term as the price is crashing. So let's do a quick dive into this. Now, I've previously voiced my thoughts on this. There's a lot of similarities between this project and Luna. I've once again said many times I'm not the biggest fan of Tron. Their USDD stablecoin depegged a very long time ago, and it never really has fully recovered. It depegged all the way down to 95 cent back in mid-2022. After then, it depegged again, went down to 97, depegged again, went down to 97, and at this moment in time, it's just hasn't recovered. It's sitting between 97 to 98 cents. So this is not a good look for Tron. And also, if you're looking at the higher time frames, a lot of people don't realize this, but this is not a new project. Although this does have some hype built around it in this cycle, this is another one of these kind of XRP projects which made a high back in 2018, and then coming into this bull run, they never made a new all-time high because of course, the way altcoins work is they're built on hype and fundamentals, and if there's other projects out there, which there are, new shitcoins come out, new altcoins come out, like, for example, people want to invest in Solana, they want to invest in Dogecoin Mars, they want to invest in these new coins, KDA, that have come out in the most recent couple of years that they think have much more potential than these old 2018 coins which never returned to their top. So all in all, it's really not looking too good for Tron. Like we said, we made a video on this 6 months ago, the big short. We actually entered a short-term position on that, but 6 months ago also we had a huge macro price target to come all the way down to 3.2 cent. This was a 50% drop that we were predicting, and you know, since this video we've broken down about 30%, down about 22% since recording. I'm going to get rid of this because it looks like we had a distribution phase before we got ready to come down to these price targets. We'll look at the oscillators in a second, but it's not looking good for the price of Tron right now. Now, basically what's happened is we've come back up since this bounce. We basically, if I come over to the weekly time frame, we basically bounced on this 786 Fibonacci, and we've bounced on this a few times. You can see since we topped out, we broke down, held just above the 786 here, held just above the 786 here, and held just above the 786 Fibonacci here. Now, if we do come over to the daily time frame, what's brutal about this is we've just completed a bearish reversion to the mean, and the EMA ribbons tightened very tightly. Now, if you do watch my channel, if you do watch the rest of my content, you'll know how detrimental this is for the price action, because when the EMA ribbons tight and when they converge on themselves, they work like Bollinger Bands, and the majority of huge moves happen after the EMA ribbons become extremely tight. Or what is the tightest that the EMA ribbons could be? Well, obviously when they cross each other, that is the tightest they can be. So let me give you an example of this. You can see here, if we zoom in, you can see the EMA ribbons got extremely tight just 2 or 3 days ago, and what has happened since then? You know, since we poked our head above this, had a mean reversion, we've literally broken down about 11%, and if we're looking at where we are today, we're breaking down about 7% just on the daily time frame. Let's look at the previous time where the EMA ribbons converged so tightly. They didn't quite cross, but of course, as you can see, there was a huge move from the top of this all the way down. So I think TradingView is a little bit laggy right now, I don't know why, but this was about a 31% move to the downside. And then if we come back, once again, what is the tightest that the EMA ribbons could be after they cross? And you can see they crossed bullish here, had a relatively okay size move, they crossed bearish here, and as you can see, another huge move to the downside. You can see a cross here, huge move to the downside. You can see a bullish cross here, huge move to the upside, because obviously these work in bullish and bearish territory. It just depends what end of the water you are in at this moment in time. And of course, if we're looking at the weekly time frame, removing these EMA ribbons now. Actually, we'll keep them on the EMA ribbons, just so you can see we are obviously in a huge bearish trend at this moment in time, and Tron is heading down very strongly. So what is my price target for Tron in the immediate short term? Let me get rid of a lot of these trend lines. Like I said, it's been a while since I've loaded up this chart, but a lot of the trend lines that we've previously been looking at, they have been broken through the floorboards of. There is really one range that I've got my eyes on right now, the absolute last line in the sand for Tron to hold, and if Tron does not hold this last line in the sand, it's going to be curtains, and I'll give you a price target of where I think we're going down to. So As you can see, we've previously came down, we actually came down here. I mean, this was support down here, so this is within this range as well. If I drag this back, like I said, okay, like I said, for some reason, TradingView today is just horribly laggy. But you can see candle body close held a support here. Bada bing. Candle body close held a support here. Candle wick held a support here. Candle wick held a support here. And every single time we seem to be doing this, you can see, you know, we came down and held at a support here, then we bounced up and made a lower high from the top here, which, so you've got a top and you've got a lower high after coming down into this range. Then you can see, boom, we came back down, touched this, we bounced up and made a lower high. Then you can see, boom, we came back down, touched this range, bounced back up and made a lower high. So we're absolutely getting converged and sandwiched at this moment in time. Tron really doesn't have too much to move around at this moment. Like we talked about on the weekly time frame, the EMA ribbons are a little bit wider. However, the weekly oscillators are telling us that we should be breaking down pretty strongly. Once again, we'll talk about that in a sec. But Tron, all in all, weekly time frame, daily time frame, monthly time frame, everything is looking bad. The USDD depegging is not a good sign, and also there's tons of FUD, and there's tons of FUD around Tron and USDD, and whether you want to believe it or not, we've seen firsthand what FUD does to Solana, because Solana's recently been absolutely melted through the floorboards. Even though I do believe a lot of the FUD is unprecedented, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter if I think the Tron FUD is real or not. It doesn't matter if you think the Tron FUD is real or not. The fact of the matter is, there is Tron FUD, and that is all you need to know. People are bearish on this chart right now, and we are rocketing to the downside. This is really performing very, very poorly. So, like I said, this last line in the sand comes in as you break beneath this wick, you break beneath this wick, you break beneath this wick, and you break beneath this candle body close. You can see you have a 786 Fibonacci here at 4.4 cent. This is absolutely your last line in the sand. If you want to be bullish on Tron, Tron needs to hold this level, and in my opinion, I don't think it will. I do think we're rushing down to this level, and at some point, I do see us breaking through the floorboards, back testing it, and heading down to lower price targets. So, if this is not my price target, then what is my price target? Well, once again, let's zoom out on the weekly, and let's see what we've got going on at this moment in time. So, once again, if you're a veteran of the channel, you know that I pull up these volume profiles a lot of the time because they give us good indications of where we're going to establish trading ranges and when we're just going to take a huge run to the upside. So, for example, you can see there was not much data traded here. And why was that? Well, you can see lots of data traded around about this range. Why was this? Well, it's because we spent time chopping, establishing a range underneath this green line. And what happened as soon as you broke above it? Well, as you can see, volume profiles at this time were not built out. We did not have much support, or we didn't have much resistance at this time, to say, because of course this was a bull market at this time. So as there was no volume profiles, there was no previous data traded above our heads, as soon as we pushed above this range, you can see how quickly we took a huge run up. And then similarly, after we started breaking down, you can see we started to form this huge volume profile where we traded here, chop. And what's interesting about this right now is if we look at where the majority of these volume clusters are, you can see, I'll mark the volume as purple just to make it super simple. So let's say this purple area is where the most amount of volume is traded. You can see the same thing happening to the flip side. A very quick move is probably going to ensue as we are falling into no man's land. There's not really data traded down here. You can see back in 2020, we had a huge wick up, immediately pushed back down. Apart from that, you can see we spent 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe, but once again, even that fourth week is pushing into this volume cluster, so you really only got about 3 weeks worth of data traded beneath this purple box all the way down to the next volume cluster, which is all the way down here. So it's, once again, it's really no man's land at this moment in time. If Tron does not hold 4.4 cent, you are going to see a monumental breakdown. And the next area on the volume profiles, you can see, if I move this red line here marks the VPBR, where the most amount of data was traded, the most amount of buyers and sellers in the market are, where the most amount of interest is. And you can see according to my analysis, according to the volume profiles, according to the FUD, USD, depegging, looking at the higher time frames, you know, rejection, not making higher highs. This is a telltale sign that this altcoin is in absolute danger. Once again, we'll check out the oscillators in a second to back up my point. But in my opinion, the next price target to keep your eyes on for Tron is a 46% drop down to 2.7%. Bear in mind, Tron is really not even an altcoin I cover. I haven't covered this in 6 months. I don't have any interest in this project. I don't have anything against this project. So if you're a big fan of this project, don't throw rocks through my window. I'm just looking at the markets as unbiased as possible. I'm not trying to fudge you out your bags. You can do what you want with this project. I never plan on buying. I never plan on selling. I've never bought. I've only shorted this project, and obviously that was documented over on my YouTube channel. Go check out how that trade worked if you want. Very, very profitable. But nonetheless, as we are wrapping up this video, of course, I'm predicting a 46% drop. So let's check out the oscillators and see if that can back up my point. Now, at this moment in time, on the squeeze momentum indicator, yeah, we've been in a bearish trend. We've been in a nasty bearish trend since the 22nd of August on the squeeze momentum indicator. However, we've been extremely flat, and at this moment in time, we are still in dark red, which is indicative that momentum is actually resetting for the bears. Now, the closer and closer momentum resets to this heart line, the more and more brutal the next macro move back down to the downside can be. Because, for example, I mean, if we were in a move like this and we were already super far to the downside, you know, we could only push down so much more before coming back up. But, for example, you can see in previous scenarios where the squeeze momentum indicator has flipped into bullish territory very temporarily, you can see this was a huge blow off top before a massive move back down. You can also see over here, squeeze momentum indicator flipped into the green. This was a time to have a huge move back down to the downside. Squeeze momentum indicator flipped bullish here. Time to have a huge move back down to the downside. And this can also happen by just resetting momentum, coming back up to the heart line, and then having another huge move back down to the downside. And that is exactly what the squeeze momentum indicator is doing right now on the higher time frames. If we're looking at the MFI, so this is basically like the RSI mixed with the volume, which is why if you watch my channel, you know that I don't have these ungodly, ugly volume candles over on my screen, because the MFI does everything the RSI does, and it also tells you when overextensions in volume and liquidity happen. So when we're looking at this, you can see MFI topped out here, liquidity topped out, liquidity topped out, liquidity topped out, liquidity topped out. And quite recently, on this poke up, when we pushed up to, you know, 5.5, 5.7 cent or so, the MFI has once again topped out, and it's looking like we're getting ready to rush down to the downside. On the weekly time frame, this just topped out at 64, and considering we're in a bear market, that is pretty overextended. We're still above the heart line, above 50, which means on the higher time frames, technically, it's more, the momentum has been more bullish than bearish. So once again, this is another thing like the squeeze momentum indicator, which is telling us we've got a long ways to go back down to the downside. Getting rid of the MFI on the weekly time frame as well, you can see the stochastic RSI has just flipped bearish once again as the blue line capitulates beneath the orange line. This is not a good sign. Sure, we're not super overextended, but you can see the last time that this flipped bearish, and you know, the stochastic RSI, the blue moving average, was at 46, and this time it's pushed up to 56. And the last time the stochastic flipped bearish was right here, literally at the exact top of this move. You can see we broke down about 31% or so. It's hard to get an accurate reading because, like I said, for some reason, TradingView's being very laggy right now. It never does this to me. It's not my PC either, because I've just tried it on my mobile phone, and it's also laggy on my mobile phone. So let me know if you're also having a problem with TradingView. I really don't know what's going up at this moment in time. But like I said, all the analysis that we've looked at really is very unambiguous. It looks like we've just fallen from this huge volume cluster where we were, you know, trading, and now we've broken beneath it, come back up and back tested the bottom of the range, and now we are falling down. I do not believe the 786 Fibonacci is going to hold, but if you are a big fan of Tron, keep your eyes on 4.4 cent. If we lose that, we are absolutely coming all the way down to the next volume profile at 2.7 cent, which is, from where we are now, a 46% drop. Once again, if you're a big fan of Tron, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just giving my unbiased opinion on the markets. If you do appreciate the content, as always, let me know down below by leaving a like and a comment. Share the videos with your friends, and if you want more data, economic charts, memes, all of that good stuff, be sure to head over to my Twitter at 618_cowboy. We've also got a Discord. If you go onto my channel and click on about, you can see Twitter, Discord, Instagram, and my merch store are all linked down below. Hope to see you over there. All I've got for this video, as always, it's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I'm out. Peace.